Hi, I'm Brooke Allen, and today we are at the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Activity Center, and we are talking about the Detroit Institute of Art Inside Out program, where there is Art in the Park, a great program that will run through the middle of July, so you have plenty of time to get out and experience and take in all the beautiful artwork. And I am joined by Lauren Azuri, who is a naturalist here at the Parks and Recreation Center, and Ted Davis, who was instrumental in bringing the program to West Bloomfield. So Ted, why don't you start by telling us how this all began?
Sure. This is an ongoing program that the Detroit Institute of Arts has, sponsored by the Knight Foundation. And actually, you can go online and apply for it. Each community has an opportunity to apply for it. We were lucky enough to be awarded this year, along with several other communities. They bring art to different communities, and you place them strategically around the chosen areas. So this was something we applied for in conjunction with the library and the township board. And we were lucky enough to be chosen. So here we are, and we get to enjoy all this great art. And most of it is surrounding the Civic Center campus that we're on here right now. We do have pieces of art, though, at Marshbank Park and at Drake Park as well.
So residents of West Bloomfield able to take it all in. Residents from anywhere really could stop by and take it in.
We're doing a guided walk called Art in the Park with one of the DIA docents, as well as myself, with helping with the nature portion of the walk. But there's also opportunities for people in the West Bloomfield and surrounding areas to come in and get their own guided map, and that will show them the title of each art piece and where it's located throughout the township, so that they can do a self-guided tour as well and enjoy the art on their own or with their families.
So behind us right now is Reeds and Cranes, and Ted, this was installed when?
This was installed, I believe, middle of April. I remember, you know what I remember about the day is it being very cold that day.
Yeah, so probably, right?
It was
snow?
cold
Was
and
there
rainy.
Snow on the
there
ground?
was no snow, so I know it wasn't Earth Day this year.
Okay.
Was the last snow day I believe we had, but it was pretty cold. It was rainy, and actually. The DA representative out here, Jillian, who's going to join us shortly, she was so great in taking us around, and we picked out spots previously and we photographed them, and then we went around, and the installers did a great job of not interfering with any wiring that might be around underneath the ground. So it was really an easy, smooth installation. And some are wall mounts like we have behind us, and some are actually mounted into the ground on posts. So we've got several different mounts out there.
So out of all the artwork that is located on this campus and at Marshbank Park, you said, what's your favorite so far?
I'm going to be really simple and easy. My favorite one is at Drake, and it's the baseball, because it's right there near the ball fields, and it just fits perfectly with that was previously out, I believe, last year at Comerica Park. Mm-hmm. So not quite Comerica, but Drake's pretty close.
Yeah. And how about you, Lauren? What's your favorite?
I have to choose the nature art piece, of course, for the one behind us, Reeds and Cranes.
Yeah. So how about, are these pieces strategically placed to fit where they are located?
We did our best to do that. Yep.
Yeah.
We tried to theme some of them when choosing locations. We were cognizant of where they were going to be and what they'd be representing.
And how about the residents of West Bloomfield? Everyone excited about this?
We've had a lot of great feedback about this, so much so that I've even talked to the township supervisor about possibly doing other art programs in the community. We do have some art classes that we have through Parks and Recreation, and we've talked about installing pieces of art in Town Hall even. So it's something out there, and I think art adds to the experience. We have a great park system. We're proud of all of our facilities, especially our parks. They're outstanding. And this simply draws people out to our parks and gives them another opportunity to experience the parks and art.
I provide guided nature walks throughout the year, and they have a great response, but this had an overwhelming response for our combination art nature walk. We even had a wait list for it. So obviously the community is very excited about it and wanting to learn more about the art pieces and be out in our parks as well.
What about kids? Are you seeing any parents think, oh, you know what, this is a great opportunity to show our kids some fine art and really get them involved? I mean, what do you think the response will be for parents with kids and families?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to have kids experience art in a non-museum setting. So it keeps
safer setting.
It keeps them a little bit more, involved, a little bit more engaged as they get to go through different parks and see other things besides just art. So if the art piece after art piece for children can be a little bit hard for them to manage over and over again, so by putting it in a new surrounding, it keeps them more engaged.
So this is free.
Yes.
This is free.
So this is totally free. And how about the hours? What are the logistics of this program?
Whenever our parks are open. So our parks are open dawn to dusk. So on the artwork that's at Marchbank Park and Drake Sports Park is available dawn to dusk.
And you mentioned there are maps involved.
Yes, so you can find those maps at the Recreation Activity Center, the building we're in front of right now, at our Civic Center complex. Some of the standing art pieces have brochure racks in them, so if you approach the art, sometimes there's a brochure in there that will guide you through as well.
And Ted, I understand you have a fine appreciation of art. You even took an art class at one point in your life.
This is a little past my art appreciation class, though, but the colors all look good.
Yeah.
And that's about what we're looking for here. What we really have here, and the DIA has done a great job with the Knight Foundation of bringing art out into communities. And I think that is the single greatest thing we could do. We're allowing people to experience art in new and different ways, and that's the beautiful part about this program. And obviously, showcasing our amazing parks and facilities.
So what did it entail for West Bloomfield to get this year? I mean, what did you have to do to be accepted, or how did that work?
I'd like to tell you it was this amazingly long process and this huge vetting period. To be honest with you, it was a fairly simple application through the DIA. They try to make it easy for communities to do this. And I would encourage anyone else out there in the neighboring community that wants to do this, simply go on their website. It's easy to do. What you did have to do is say what you would do with the art in your community, how you would highlight it, how would you focus on that, what other entities would you cooperate with to do that. And obviously we did that with the police, with the township, and of course with the library, along with Parks and Recreation.
So you said this art was actually installed in April, so it's actually been here for a while.
It has been out here for a while. Unfortunately, it hasn't really cooperated with us that much. It's just now beginning to feel like summer is actually going to arrive. So we just encourage everyone to come on out and enjoy all of our outdoor facilities.
They'll be on display till mid-July, so you still have plenty of time to come out to the parks and enjoy the art.
Okay, so then mid-July, and then when is the art actually taken down?
That will be when it's taken down, mid-July.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they'll be taken to the next community.
Okay, so then it's all over, and then next summer, could you possibly get it again, or how does that work?
Usually I think they try to rotate it through, but
Okay.
I mean, it's anything's possible.
Anything is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ted, so much for joining us and for your great contribution to bringing this fine art to West Bloomfield. I hope the community is able to get out and enjoy it, and until July 16th, you said. So,
Yes.
So we will hope the community takes advantage of it and get out here and enjoy it, and the families and everyone else. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Department, the Inside Out program is giving West Bloomfield residents a chance to appreciate fine art. We sat down with DIA Community Relations Specialist Jillian Reese. How long have you been with the DIA first?
I've been with the DIA for about a year now, working on Inside Out as well as other community programs.
So this is your first time in West Bloomfield, or?
Yes, this is not Inside Out's first time in West Bloomfield. We've been here once before, but this is my first time doing the project here.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about this program, Inside Out. What is the goal of the program?
So the project started in 2010 to celebrate the museum's 125th anniversary. And our COO had gone to London and seen the project done by the National Gallery in London, in the UK. And she thought, how great to see reproductions of art in the community. I think she had gone to dinner at a pub, and there was one installed on the side. So that first year, we just put out a few pieces of art. We didn't know how well it would go over, but people really responded to it. We had a call to our offices that first summer where a woman in Livonia called the museum in a panic and said, "We have one of your pieces here in Livonia."
She thought it was a real one?
Yep, and she said, it's in a park. The person on the phone explained to her, this is part of our Inside Out project, and she said, okay, I have to go. My husband's guarding the piece, so I have to tell him he can leave. So, and we knew by that response that we had sort of hit something there. So we really look at this project as a cornerstone of our community outreach for the museum. We are a community-supported museum, and this is one way that we take our resources and bring them out to the community and really meet people where they're at, so that maybe people aren't always able to come to the museum maybe as often as they would like. So Inside Out is a great way to share our collection with the people who support us.
And especially to be out in the park or outside in the summer, you know, and especially if you have little kids, you don't really want to drag them to a museum all the time. I mean, it's a nice atmosphere and they need to learn that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, they really do. But at the same time, you don't always want to take them to a museum and be worried that they're going to touch something, set off an alarm, you know, do something like that, right?
Right. So, well, I mean, I think that one of the goals of this is for people to recognize the museum as a place of fun and maybe surprise. I think that there is definitely a reputation of a fine art museum not being family friendly, right? You know, you think of a security guard yelling at your toddler to you're too close. But actually, the Detroit Institute of Arts is a place that a lot of kids of all ages come to. We serve close to 70,000 school children a year through field trips. So there's definitely a ton of for kids to do at the museum. But you're right. During the summertime, you want to be enjoying the outdoors, and so this is again a great way for us to do that. And a lot of communities maybe have less access to public art, art in public places. So we love this project because it can kind of inspire other public art projects. When communities see how popular it is, they see the real benefit to having art where it's accessible to everyone.
So Ted said it was a pretty easy process to bring the art here to West Bloomfield. So tell us a little bit about that. How do you select the community?
So we like to have a diversity of communities. So we accept communities in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Sometimes we leave the Tri-County area, but that's the museum service area, so we try to focus our efforts there. So in September, we release a call for participation. It's available at our website, dia.org/insideout. And we put it on our Facebook page and on our Twitter. And we usually get about 30 to 40 applications, different communities, neighborhoods. This year we're in Hines Park, which is a park that stretches 40 miles through a lot of different cities. So we try to look for a balance of suburban areas, urban areas. We also try to go have a geographic dispersion of communities. So we like to, hit communities way far north in Oakland County or Macomb County or south and west in Wayne County. We're in Ortonville, which is pretty far north in Oakland County. And they're small communities too. So we kind of take the applications in and look at what people are proposing and what they would want to do with the project. And this year we actually have a record number of communities participating. We have 20 over the summer. So we do these in pop-up seasons. So there's a season from April until July, and we're in 10 communities. And then in August until early November, we'll be in another 10. So we have about total close to 100 individual installations that we do.
Wow. So those installations, the 100, will all come down at the same time?
Yep, so they come down at the end, or in the middle of July, and then we sort of remix everything. We use the same images, but we put them in totally different locations, and the 8 reproductions that are in West Bloomfield won't be together in the next community. Reeds and Cranes here might be paired with Van Gogh somewhere else, and not necessarily in this same grouping. So we try and keep it fresh. We have a lot of people that follow this project summer to summer and even community to community. So it's also a great way not only for people to sort of take an art treasure hunt of their own backyard, but also to maybe visit a community they've never visited before and see the reproductions there.
Okay, so let's talk about the reproductions. What goes into those? I mean,
so they are actually really just a big vinyl sticker. So we take a high quality photograph, high resolution image of the actual artwork in our photography studio at the Detroit Institute of Arts. And we work with a sign company out of Southfield, Levanway Sign Co. And they fabricate them for us. It's a vinyl sticker on an aluminum substrate. And then that's set into a real wood frame. So that's a wood art frame. It's the best thing to hold up to the elements, actually.
Yes.
Surprising. We finished the frame with a polyurethane lacquer, similar to what they put on boats, wooden boats. But for the most part, they're pretty hardy. And we can use them, summer after summer, and replacing them, sometimes they get damaged with weather. And sometimes, if they've been out in the sun a couple summers, the pigment starts to fade. But for the most part, they're pretty sturdy. They have to stand up to the elements. So.
Right. So you haven't really had to replace. How many do you think?
Well, every summer we probably, out of a total. For the whole summer, we do 100 in what we call the spring, and then 100 in the later summer. So probably 5 we lose.
Wow, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. People.
Michigan
Right.
weather.
Exactly. If we get a strong wind gust, some of the larger freestanding pieces can move a little bit. But yeah, they last pretty well, and we've installed them all over the place. One of my favorite installation sites was in a graffiti park in Southwest Detroit. And when we installed it, everybody in the community was like, this is definitely going to get tagged. Like, what are you putting this here? And actually, the piece never was tagged. It was in between 2 plywood panels that had graffiti on it. It was left untouched. People really respect these, even though they are reproductions. They sort of identify them as special, and they tend to treat them with a lot of respect.
So speaking of the respect aspect, has anything ever gotten stolen?
Oh, sure. We've had pieces. Most of the time, what happens if pieces do get pulled up is they get returned a few days later because people realize that they're
this is not
fake.
real.
So we usually end up finding them again, interestingly. We've lost a few, but I think that it's a greater benefit having these things out and accessible than being afraid of maybe the possibility of it being vandalized.
Right. And so this program overall, a huge success.
Yep. Yeah, we're actually expanding the project. We're this summer going to be installing for one of the first times outside of the Metro Detroit area. So we're going to be in Grand Haven and Bay City. We'll be installing later this month. And our funder, the Knight Foundation, they've been funding Inside Out for the past 4 years. And they really love this project. It's a great community building project. And so they're actually taking Inside Out national. It won't be our DIA pieces, or pieces from our collection. They're working with museums in 8 different cities across the country, but it's going to be the same this same idea, where they would be creating reproductions, installing them in the parks and main streets around different communities, with an effort of really reaching out and becoming more accessible. And it's another example of how, imported from Detroit,
Right.
We are a leader in innovation in this area, and it's great that the Knight Foundation has really recognized that. So we're really happy and really proud that this is going
Yeah, that's
national.
amazing. I mean, that is really amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, the art here is going down on July 16th, I think, right?
Yeah.
So once the art is down here, the DIA is still open, so people can still come down to the museum.
Yep.
And so tell us real quick about the museum and the hours and everything.
Yeah, so the museum is open every day of the week except for Monday. Right now we are in extended hours. We are currently have a special exhibition titled Diego and Frida in Detroit. The popularity of the exhibition, we're starting the final month of the exhibition, so the hours are extended right now until July 12th. So that's on Tuesday and Wednesday, the museum is open 9 to 4 o'clock. Thursday and Friday, it's open from 9 until 10 o'clock. Every Friday, we have free music at the DIA, and it's free admission, general admission. The Diego and Rivera exhibition is ticketed. And on Saturday and Sunday, we're open 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Normally, our hours are generally 9 till 4, and then on Friday nights, we are open until 9 p.m.
So plenty of time to get in all the artwork you can handle, right?
Yes, definitely. Come to the DIA, see pieces that are in the community, in the museum, and there is a ton of stuff always happening at the museum. And like I said, free general admission to residents of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. So.
And everything online as well.
Yep. All information about what's going on in the museum day to day is online. And on our calendar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jillian.
Thank you.
Don't forget to pick up your map at the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Activity Center so you can discover all the art in the park. For Civic Center TV, I'm Brooke Allen. Have a wonderful summer.